Hi everyone, my name is Liang, and I'll be presenting my findings for my final year project with the title of Temporal Variation of Sarcosaprophagous Scuttle Diversity at UKM Forest Reserve, Bangi. A little bit of introduction. Due to their small size of scuttleflies, they can actually reach buried carrion faster than blowflies and are useful in estimating the MPMI. Some of the taxonomic diagnoses for scuttleflies include small size, distinctive hump to the thorax, reduced venation in wings adult, and their short costal veins. So why is this research title is urgent? Previous studies, such as studies in 2002 and 2016, indicate that scuttleflies are an extremely diverse group of Diptera within UKM. However, these studies did not include temporal variation as the research parameter. Hence, the effect of temporal variation of scuttleflies is studied in this research. Apart from that, studies conducted in 1982 shows that phorids are more attracted towards white pentrap compared to other colors. These studies also revise the effectiveness of the pentrap and study the preference of Phoridae towards certain colors. Moving on to the objectives, the main objective for this research is to determine the temporal variation of Sarcosaprophagous scuttleflies at UKM Forest Reserve. The specific objectives are split into three, where the first one is to characterize the taxonomy of Sarcosaprophagous scuttlefly species from UKM Forest Reserve, and to observe temporal patterns of Sarcosaprophagous scuttleflies based on total catch in a period of 1 month. And lastly is to determine the preference of Sarcosaprophagous scuttleflies at UKM Forest Reserve towards white, yellow, and blue pentrap. So this research is an observational study that extends for 4 weeks. Sampling instruments used are white, blue, and yellow pentrap that contains water mixed with detergent and decomposed beef liver placed in the middle as shown in the video here. Sample collection is done at UKM Forest Reserve as mentioned before. And this forest reserve has an area of 138 hectares, and the peak is Bukit Rupa with an altitude of 105 meters from sea level. It is known as the secondary tropical Diptera forest as there are uneven terrains, steep slopes, and high degrees of environmental heterogeneity. It is around 240 meters away from the Liang River and 990 meters away from UKM Faculty of Law. Moving on to the research framework, all specific objectives employ the same methodology, which is using the white, yellow, and blue pentrap containing water mixed with detergent and beef liver in the middle. Sample traps are collected in 80% ethanol and larvae collected and reared until adults as additional data. Let's take a look at objective 1 and 2. Taxonomic analysis will be performed using traditional morphological method, and the results are tabulated in a summary table accompanied with other species descriptions. Total catch number is then determined, and a bar plot of total catch number against weeks are constructed in order to relate with the meteorological data. And lastly, for objective 3, chi-square test is used to determine the significance of pentrap color towards total catch number. Now let's take a look at results and discussion. For objective 1, here's a summary table of number of phorids and the number of species collected. Undescribed species are coded as Megacilla A, B, C, and so on. As we noticed, the most dominant species is Megacilla phalloconsueta, which comprises over 68% of the total catch number. There are also a few Polycyphora and Doniflora species collected. The total number of species collected in this research is 19, and the total catch number is 1,912. A stacked bar plot of total species catch number against period is charted as shown here, and it is clear that Megacilla phalloconsueta is the most dominant species here. Now I'll present a couple of taxonomy for interesting species, where the first one is Megacilla phalloconsueta. Few key characteristics include yellow fronts, ventry fork, hypophagium is brown, the sex tergite is divided in the middle, and the abdominal tergites are all brown with yellowish patches. The second one is Polycyphora pinengensis. Looking at the head, there are 4 bristles between supraantenna and ocelli, and 6 bristles on vertex, including post-ocellas. On the abdomen, tergite 5 and 6 are present, and the anterior flap on tergite 5 is relatively small. And tergite 5 is also narrower than posterior margin of tergite 4. And lastly, on the metatarsus, there are combs with bifid spines at the most dorsal part. One species had made its appearance as new geographical record in this research, which is Megacilla thermimicana. This species was first read and discovered from fungus Termitomyces in Taiwan, and the first record in Malaysia is at Tasachini, Pahang in 2021. Now this species can be found in UKM Forest Reserve. Next, I would like to highlight a few undescribed species that may emerge as new species, but only after thorough revision and checking. So the first species is Megacilla BX. Noticeable features are the long bristle on each tergite and also a spot at the sternum here. And the proposed name is Megacilla baxillorum. The second species is Megacilla B, where the feature is the all black tergites. And the proposed name is Megacilla rupanensis. And lastly is Megacilla C, where the posterior tergite 2 and tergite 3 are brown in color. And the proposed name is Megacilla subsete ventris. For objective 2, the temperature and relative humidity data for 4 weeks are tabulated here. The stacked bar plot shows week 1 has the highest total catch number of 864, followed by week 2, 3, and lastly 4 with only 189. Since the mean temperature for each week only range from 25.1 to 26.9, it does not show any relation with the bar plot on the left. Hence, it is assumed that the meteorological data do not attribute to the temporal variation of scuttleflies. Last but not least, for objective 3, Jamovi software is used to conduct the chi-square test. The p-value is found to be less than 0.05, and the chi-square value is 11.8, and also the degree of freedom is 2. This shows that there's a significant relationship between the color of pen trap and the total catch number. So it is concluded in both sexes, scuttleflies were most attracted to yellow pen trap, followed by white and blue pen trap. For discussion, previous studies show that the most abundant species found in undisturbed forests of Malaysia is Megacilla and Woodifora, and the most dominant species found in UKM Forest Reserve is Megacilla phalloconsueta. So this is actually consistent with the findings found in specific objective 1. The results also show that yellow pen trap was observed to be attractive to more phorids compared to white and blue pen trap. And this is similar in studies that shows the preference of Diptera towards color pen trap. So here are the diagrams. So the justification for this is that yellow pigments resembles foliage pigments that may that most insects are more likely to detect and be attracted to, hence making yellow pen trap a more suitable sampling trap in future research. So some of the limitation includes presence of predators that disturb the baits and the trapping process. So the solution is to use metal cages with narrow bars. Also, more time is needed to revise all samples for taxonomy, species ID, and confirmation, as all of these taxonomy ID and confirmations are very laborious and expensive. And lastly, the meteorological data is lack of rainfall data, which may be important to relate with the behavior of Diptera. The research period is also relatively short for a temporal study, as most temporal study takes at least 1 year for sufficient data. In conclusion, the total number of species collected is 19, and the total catch number is 1,912. The most dominant species is Megacilla phalloconsueta. There is also no noticeable increase or decrease pattern in the temperature and relative humidity data throughout the research period. Hence, the relation cannot be made. Scuttleflies were most attracted to yellow pen trap, followed by white and blue pen trap. So here the reference that has been used in this presentation. And that's all from me. Thank you and have a nice day.